had two messes. Yeah. Don't do that. Everybody understands. But these men came together and they gave the king wise counsel. So guess what? Vashti was canceled, and now the king is on the search to find a replacement. Everybody understands. Let's go to Esther, the 2nd chapter. All right? Let's go to Esther, the 2nd chapter. Let me go where we going to start. Let's go down to verse 5.
Esther chapter 2, verse 5. Now in Shushan, the palace, there was a certain Jew whose name was Mordecai, the son of Yair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, a Benjamite.
Now, in Shushan, in the palace, there was a brother named Mordecai. Everybody understands. Right. Recognize how they gave Mordecai's registry. Yeah. This is a very ancient tradition, something we do today. Everybody understands. They gave Mordecai's registry. Why? To establish that this was a solid brother from one of the 12 tribes. And this was especially important because of him being in captivity. Everybody understands. So we have it established here that Mordecai was an Israelite through and through. Read on.
Verse 6. Who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captivity which had been carried away with Jeconiah, king of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away.
And let me ask y'all this. How did this brother Mordecai end up in Shushan where the Persians and the Medes were ruling if he was taken captive by Nebuchadnezzar and the Babylonians? Anybody? This brother wasn't taken captive by the Persians, so why was he in Shushan, the palace, the capital city of the Persian Empire, after the Persians conquered the Babylonians? For time's sake, I'm going to give it to you. Right? And I was just having this conversation with a brother in the car. In ancient times, when different empires clashed with one another, the clash was a higher level event. Everybody understands. Right. Meaning, the Persian Empire is coming to conquer the Babylonian Empire, right? Let's imagine we in Atlanta, right? Let's say you're a cat on the south side of Atlanta. You got a tire shop. You sell tires and deal with, used cars. When the Babylonians come and take over the Persians, they not going to war against your tire shop. They not going to war against, you a citizen of this place. They going to war with the government. So imagine right now the Russians came and took over America. Russians would go to war with America, but they would not come to the south side of Atlanta and destroy your tire shop. They bombed the Pentagon in D.C. They would come to Atlanta. Maybe the governor, the mayor, and the police would fight. They would kill the governor, kill the mayor, kill the police, and then the Russians would say, all right, now we run Atlanta. Who knows about this city? And you would say, well, I got my little tire shop on the south side, man. I've been working there about 12 years and building my business. They say, all right, keep your business on the south side. Keep selling them tires. Just pay your taxes to us now. Everybody understands? Well, when the Persians came, when the Babylonians took over Israel, they found brothers who was nobles in Israel, brothers who had land and had wealth, who were educated, who spoke different languages. And when they went to war with the king and killed the king, they said, hey, nigga, what do you do? Well, I got this tire shop on the south side. All right, you stay at your tire shop. But the cat who was, worked in the government, the cat who could speak different languages, the cat who, was a noble and educated and had children who went to college, they grabbed all of them up and said, y'all coming to work with us in Babylon. You're going to come and be a noble in Babylon and work a job and be a translator. Do something that's high society in our empire. Everybody understands? But when the Persians came and they conquered Babylon, Mordecai was one of them cats. In Babylon, working and making a living and being beneficial to the Babylonian government, the Persians said, come on, man, you're going to come work in the capital city. You a cat dad. You shouldn't be here just in your tire shop on the south side. You're going to come to the capital. That's how Mordecai ended up in Shushan, the palace. Everybody understands? That's why he's in the city where all the nobles and all of the high society people are. Let's keep reading.
Verse 7. And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother. And the maid was fair and beautiful, whom Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took her his own daughter.
Took for his own daughter. So Mordecai was in Shushan and he was raising up his niece. Everybody understands? Now, they say that her name was Hadassah. Had brought up Hadassah, that is Esther. Why does she have two names? Anybody? Anybody but Zaquan. Young brothers.
It's a translation.
A translation of what?
It's like Jesus or ISUS.
No. That's a good try, but that's not the reason why she has two names. Does anybody know why she has Hadassah and Esther? Is there anybody else in the scriptures that got two names that you can think of? What's your name? Say your name. Hadar. Hadar, go on with it.
Sir, is it like her Hebrew name and her slave name?
Yes, that's what it is. It's her Hebrew name and her slave name. Everybody understands.
Kind of
Hadassah, I believe, is her Hebrew name. Esther is her slave name, or it's the other way around. Everybody understands. She has a slave name and a Hebrew name. All right? Let's keep reading.
Verse 8. So it came to pass, when the king's commandment and his decree was heard, and when many maidens were gathered together unto Shushan the palace, to the custody of Haggai, that Esther was brought also unto the king's house, to the custody of Haggai, keeper of the women. Verse 9. And the maiden pleased him, and she obtained kindness of him, and he speedily gave her things for purification, with such things as belonged to her, and 7 maidens, which were meant to be given her out of the king's house, and he preferred her and her maids unto the best place of the house of the women.
So in this time where the king had been on the search for a new woman, Esther was one of those women. And he was pleased with Esther, and she was beautiful, and he wanted her to be prepared to be his wife. Everybody understands. So Esther was set up with her own place, set up in the palace. She had her own space, had 7 maidens, and the king preferred her. Everybody understands. Now, hold up. Keep reading.
Verse 10. Esther had not shewed her people nor her kindred, for Mordecai had charged her that she should not shew it.
Now, the king loved Esther, and she was so beautiful and so bad, and he wanted her. But he did not know that she was an Israelite. Why didn't he know she was an Israelite? Because Mordecai had told her, don't you let everybody know you're an Israelite. You just be a beautiful woman for right now. Don't let them know your registry and state who you are, where you're from. And Mordecai had a reason for that. Everybody understands. It's damn near like today. You might have a sister, you know what I'm saying, that work on the slavery. She working in that slavery, and she making good money, and she gaining power and gaining prestige in Esau's world. She ain't got to, start wearing fringes on her dresses at work. She ain't got to start rocking the shield on her earrings or, having conversations about what she believe in. They celebrating Christmas. She just come in there and do her job. She ain't got to be in there. I don't celebrate no Christmas. That's a pagan religion. Don't do that. Why you doing that, woman? Right. She ain't got to battle for the truth while she at her slavery. She could just be a sister who work on her slavery.
Right.
Same thing with you brothers. You might be at your slavery. It might not be expedient for you to wear fringes at your job. Don't go take fringes and put them on the slacks. You understand? You wear them slacks, them little pointy toe shoes. Wear them pointy toe shoes and them slacks and do your job.
Right.
Christmas come around, you know what I'm saying? They happy holidays, you have a good day too. You ain't got to be in there, F the white man, F Christmas, and F Valentine's Day.
Right.
Don't do that, brother. That's not the place where you do this. That's not the battlefield. Everybody understand? It's perfectly okay to just blend in at your slavery. Be another guy that's there. Or the Lord will give you a slavery where you can fully represent. You wear your fringes and boots and your braids and your shield and fully rock it out. But if you a brother in a position where it's not expedient to do that, it's not a sin. Everybody understands? Mordecai went in there and said, Esther, don't you tell nobody about being a Hebrew, being an Israelite. You just be beautiful. That's all you got to do right now is be beautiful and gain the king's favor. And she did it. Everybody understands? Let's see if we could drop that. Matter of fact, read verse 11. Read verse 11.
Verse 11. And Mordecai walked every day before the court of the women's house to know how Esther did and what should become of her.
All right, drop that. Let's go down. So Mordecai is keeping a close eye on Esther, making sure that she's taken care of, making sure everything is great. All right, drop down to verse 16.
Kanawakan. Verse 16. So Esther was taken unto the king Ahasuerus, into his house royal in the 10th month, which is the month of Tebeth, in the 7th year of his reign. Verse 17. And the king loved Esther above all the women, and she obtained grace and favor in his sight more than all the virgins, so that he set the royal crown upon her head and made her queen instead of Vashti.
You understand? So because of a bitch disobeying her man, the place was made for a righteous woman to rise. Everybody understand? Vashti did some evil thing to shame the king, and the Lord allowed for a righteous woman to be brought to this man and to be raised up. Everybody understand? And that sister, for being honorable and for obeying what her uncle told her to do, she was now the highest woman in the land. Everybody understands? Now, let's keep on reading now to the end of the chapter.
Verse 18. Then the king made a great feast unto all the princes and his servants, even Esther's feast, and he made a release to the provinces and gave gifts according to the state of the king. Verse 19. And when the virgins were gathered together the second time, then Mordecai sat in the king's gate. Verse 20. Esther had not yet showed her kindred nor her people, as Mordecai had charged her. For Esther did the commandment of Mordecai, as when she was brought up with him.
Now, she didn't become queen and start to disobey Mordecai. She didn't become queen and think, well, I'm the highest broad in the land now. I ain't got to do what nobody tell me to do. She still honored Mordecai. Still kept heed to the things that he taught her. Read on.
Verse 21. In those days, while Mordecai sat in the king's gate, two of the king's chamberlains, Bigthan and Teresh, of those which kept the door, were wroth, and sought to lay hand on the king Ahasuerus.
Now, Mordecai is in the gate of the king because he's watching for Esther. He's out there making sure that she's straight. Now, okay, for you to understand it today, being in the gate of the king would be like not being in his house, but being on the street where he lived. I'm trying to find a way to relay it to you. Where's the place where all the rich people live in Atlanta? Buckhead? Okay. Is there like so different now? Imagine a place where the richest part of the city, right? There's the king's house or the governor's mansion, but then there's other people who live near there. Everybody understand? So it's not so spread out. Meaning there's a palace where they're like a giant hotel. If you ever been to a big hotel that's maybe 5 floors, the king live on the 5th floor. But there's other hotels where rich people stay. People famous live. Well, Mordecai's hanging out in the lobby of the hotel. And he ain't not just staying there all day and all night, but he's in between slaving. He come through the lobby. He see the women going back and forth, see the rich and the famous people moving through. And if you're a cat that hang out in the place long enough, you'll get to become familiar with certain people. You get to hear the rumors that's going around and hear what the people talking about. Well, Mordecai's hanging out in the king's gate all the time because he's making sure that Esther's straight. He watching, from a distance. Well, while he's hanging in the king's gate, he get to hearing all different types of things that's going on. Rumors that's being mentioned back and forth. Well, he catch wind that somebody plotting on the king. He hear the whole rundown that these two cats that the king trusts to guard him, they plotting to kill him. What does Mordecai do? What happens if the king dies? Anybody know? Brother in the back. Esther now is going to be given to another man. Or God forbid she get raped. Because what happens to the king's woman when he dies? Somebody else take her. So because Mordecai is watching out for Esther, he get word that somebody plotting on the king. He gonna go warn the king. Let's read on.
Verse 22. And the thing was known to Mordecai, who told it unto Esther the queen. And Esther certified the king thereof in Mordecai's name. Verse 23. And when inquisition was made of the matter, it was found out. Therefore they were both hanged on a tree. and it was written in the book of the Chronicles before the king.
You understand? So Mordecai did an honorable thing. The cats that plotted on the king got murdered, and it was written down, man. This cat Mordecai looked out for the king. Everybody understands that's important. Now let's go to Esther, the 3rd chapter.
Kanawakan. This is Esther, chapter 3, verse 1. After these things, did King Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha the Agagite, and advanced him, and set his seat above all the princes that were with him.
Now, after everything that transpired with Esther marrying the king and Mordecai exposing the plot, a period of time passed. And there came a day where the king set this man named Haman, who was an Agagite, above everybody else that was in the land. Everybody understands? So Haman was the king's right-hand man. Let's read about this cat Haman. Read on.
Kanawakan. Verse 2. And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman.
So imagine, again, in the king's gate, this big lobby area, or this inside this big palace where all of the people that's important in this land hang out. Well, every time Haman come through, everybody bow and reverence him. It's damn near today how when a general walk in the room, we say Allah Panya, everybody salute, right? But that's how it was for Haman. Haman come in the room, everybody stop what they doing, they salute Haman, they bow to him. Let's read on.
Kanawakan. For the king had so commanded concerning him, but Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence.
Everybody bowed when Haman came through except for Mordecai. What does it mean to do him reverence? So bowing is one thing. To do him reverence is like, hey, what's up, man? Hey, y'all, it's Haman. Haman, what's good, man? Good to see you, man. What's going on, boss? Meaning everybody placated to Haman, right?
Right.
Except for Mordecai. Haman come through, everybody bowed, Mordecai just stood there. Everybody running over, hey, what's up, Haman? What's going on? Mordecai just sat there with his drink and chilled. Nigga, who is you? You just another nigga. Everybody understand?
Right.
Mordecai registry is important now because that's an Israelite thing. Who is this nigga? I don't know that nigga. I don't care who he is. How many of y'all raise your hand if you ever been around some famous cat and you pretended like he wasn't famous? All the time, right? I've been places with many niggas, but he just a nigga. Even I don't care if I like this nigga. If I want his autograph, I'm too cool for that.
Right.
I treat that nigga like he ain't nobody.
Yeah, that's right.
You understand? Same thing for a woman. I don't give a damn if I see, whoever she is, like she don't even exist. That bothers somebody who used to people being excited about them to not be excited is like, who this nigga think he is? It's like being Jamie Foxx on the Django. Who's this nigga on that nag? What are you doing up there? When you don't reverence somebody who's used to being reverenced, they look at it like, well, who this nigga? Who he think he is? Well, that's how Haman felt about Mordecai. Then when Haman found out Mordecai was an Israelite, it burned him even more. Because Haman was an Edomite. Mm. And Edomites and Israelites have always had beef. Edomites and Israelites have always been opposite sides of a coin. Everybody understands? So it burned inside of Haman that this nigga wouldn't acknowledge him. The nerve of this nigga to not respect me when the king told me to be respected. Everybody understands? Let me see something. Let's drop down to, read verse 4 and 5. Come on, let me read verse 3.
Verse 3. Then the king's servants, which were in the king's gate, said unto Mordecai, why transgressest thou the king's commandment?
And listen, that's the spirit of everybody who wants to know why you don't do the thing everybody else do.
Right.
You against Christmas and you against these holidays. Why you gotta be the party pooper? Why you gotta ruin everybody's fun? Why you got to be against the king's commandment? That's how everybody felt towards Mordecai. How did Mordecai feel? F that. I do what the Lord said to do. The Lord said don't bow to no man. Right. Don't put no man above the Most High. I ain't bowing to this cat. I don't give a damn what the commandment is. Right. If I got to die because I won't bow to this cat, well then I'll die. The Lord will be with me. Right. That was Mordecai's perspective. Everybody understand? That's right. And everybody else wondering, why you take it so seriously, man? And so what? You don't celebrate Christmas? You can say Happy Holidays after that. I ain't saying Happy Holidays.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I know you don't like birthdays, but it's for the kids. Come on. I ain't going to no birthday party.
That's right.
Everybody understands. That was Mordecai's feeling about it.
Right.
Read on.
Verse 4. Now it came to pass, when they spake daily unto him, and he hearkened not unto them, that they told Haman to see whether Mordecai's matter would stand, for he had told them that he was a Jew. Verse 5. And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then was Haman full of wrath.
Now that's another thing that you got to see. These cats who was questioning Mordecai was also hating on him. You know what I'm saying? They hated that Mordecai wouldn't bow. Not only did Haman hate it, but the niggas who bowed hated it. Why did they hate it? Because they ain't want to bow neither.
Right.
But they didn't have the strength that Mordecai had. They didn't have the resolve that Mordecai had. They didn't have the way of life that Mordecai had. So they hated on Mordecai.
Right.
Say, this nigga won't bow. The rest of us bowing, but he won't bow. Bet this nigga bow. We're going to make sure he bow. Right. They went and told Haman, yeah, you know that one nigga. Let's say Haman tried to ignore it. He couldn't even ignore it. Because the other niggas who was bowing kept coming to him. Yeah, man, you know that Mordecai cat won't bow to you, man. We asked him why he won't bow. The nigga said he a Jew. Now Haman got to hear that this nigga that ain't bowing is a Jew.
Right.
And he full of wrath. Everybody understands. Read on.
Verse 6. And he thought scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they had showed him the people of Mordecai. Wherefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, even the people of Mordecai.
Now this is how evil this bastard was, and this goes to show you the spirit of a devil. This devil was mad at Mordecai, right? But instead of just having this beef be between him and Mordecai, he wanted to see the whole nation perish.
Right.
He wanted to see the whole nation die. You understand? You ever wanted to know why a damn city of Rosewood in Florida had to be destroyed because one white slut told a man that she had sex with some nigga? Because them white people don't want to just see one nigga die. They want to see all of you die. You understand? You want to know why? I mean, just think of all of the horrible atrocities that we've suffered under the hands of these devils. It's not enough that one of us suffer. They want the nation to suffer. Everybody understands?
Right.
Real quick, let me get Ezekiel chapter 35 and 5. This is what was inside of the spirit of Haman. You understand? He was true to being an Edomite.
Got it, sir.
Come on with it.
Ezekiel chapter 35, verse 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. You know?
Come, read on.
Therefore, as I live, says the Lord God, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee.
You understand? The Lord said that these children of Edom, that they were a bloodthirsty people. And they shed our blood by the force of the sword, and there was no such thing as enough blood for them. Wasn't enough for Mordecai's blood. He had to get all of Israel's blood. The Lord said what? Because you live by blood, then blood is going to pursue you. The Lord prophesied that when these Edomites go to kill and go to destroy us, the Lord said it's going to return on their head. That blood was going to pursue them and overtake them. Everybody understands? That's foreshadowing what's to come in this book of Esther. This cat wants to kill all the Israelites. The Lord said because he can't get enough blood, blood is going to come and pursue him. Everybody understands? Let's read on.
Verse 7. In the first month, that is the month Nisan, in the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, they cast pur, that is the lot, before Haman from day to day.
You understand? Salakia. You understand? So in the 12th year of the king, they cast pure, that is the lot. If I could, Thamayam, break down to the people what it is that pure is, or casting lots. Break that down for everybody.
If everybody look at the board, pure means lot, and Purim means lots. And back in the day, they used to throw lots to determine what they're going to do, make a decision. And back then, they made a decision on who's going to destroy the Israelites. This is what happened in Esther chapter 3, verse 7.
Everybody understand? So lots is what today we would call rolling dice. You understand? But back in those days, when you rolled dice, there was depending on how the lots rolled, there was a determination that was already made. Everybody understands? Thamayam, you got an example of casting lots in the scriptures for everybody.
Common concepts of the paper.
Come on with it. Yeah. Tell me where's
Luke chapter 23.
All right, let's get Luke chapter 23 and 34. Go ahead, Thamayam, you got it.
Common concept.
You got the one in
Jonah?
yeah.
I can get it.
All right, read this one. I mean, Zaquan, you read this one. Find the one in John.
All right, come on. This is Luke
23 and 34.
23 and 34. Come on. Luke chapter 23, verse 34. Then said Yahushua, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do.
Now, this was during the time when our king was dying. He was on the cross. He's close to death. Everybody understands.
Right.
So while Christ is hanging on the cross and he's praying, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Read on.
And they parted his raiment and cast lots.
They cut his clothes apart, and then they started gambling over the clothes. They casting lots to see who gonna get this nigga's clothes. Everybody understands? That's what they did when Christ died. Evil niggas. He up there on the cross, he hanging. They casting lots over who gonna get to take his garment. Everybody understand? But it go to show you that even back then they was casting lots. Who in here know how to cast some lots? You understand? Any brothers in here cast some lots?
Yeah.
All right, we gonna find out. Come pass over next high holy day when I got some money. We find out. Cast some lots, goddammit. You understand? Casting lots is an Israelite tradition. We cast lots to the day.
Yeah.
And guess what? When I take all y'all money, you shall know the Lord was with me. You
Right. That's right.
Or if you take mine, I'm gonna say, hey, the Lord with him, man.
Right.
He cast them lots, but they casted lots over Christ's garment. There's another instance in the scriptures where they casted lots. Go ahead, Thamayam, you got it.
Jonah chapter 1, verse 6. So the shipmaster came to him and said unto him, What meanest thou, O sleeper? Arise, call upon thy God. If so, be that God will think upon us that we perish not.
Now, in the first chapter of the book of Jonah, Jonah hopped on a ship to get away from following the order the Lord gave to prophesy, right? While Jonah's on this ship, a storm comes. And the storm is tossing the ship back and forth. The wind is blowing. It's raining. Everybody's scared as hell. I don't know if y'all ever been on a boat in the storm. Anybody been on a boat in the storm? Anybody ever been on a plane and you experienced turbulence? Did you pray? You pray, right? Because you're like, what the hell? I just came from Florida last week, and we went to a little bit of turbulence. My wife was about to die. She was so scared and just shaking a little bit. I was scared too. She ain't know that. I'm like, it's gonna be all right. We good. But they goddamn it, that plane get to shaking. What's going on? Right. But they was on a boat and the storm formed and was tossing the ship back and forth. Jonah's sleeping through the storm. Why is Jonah asleep? Because Jonah know that the storm is because of him. Well, the shipmaster wake him up and say, nigga, what you sleeping for? Can call on your God. Don't you see we about to die on this ship, man? Call on your God. Read on.
Common concept. Verse 7. And they said everyone to his fellow, Come and let us cast lots.
They said, listen, man, we got to find out why this storm is rocking this boat like this. So they started to cast lots to find out who was responsible for the boat being shaken. Everybody understands? Read on.
That we may know for whose cause this evil is upon us.
So they knew that when they rolled these dice, whoever lost or crapped out, God is against them. You understand? Read on.
So they cast lots, and the lot fell upon Jonah.
They cast lots, and the lot fell upon Jonah. Jonah, the Lord was not with him in that dice game. So when this goes to show you that casting lots wasn't only for money. Right. Casting lots wasn't only for, material thing. At this time, casting lots was a spiritual thing. If God is with you, then the lots is going to be with you. If God is against you, then you're going to crap out.
Right.
They on that ship in that storm, they got the shaking them. They got the rolling them dice.
Right.
Come on, 7 with your funky. They rolling them dice.
Right,
Jonah
right.
rolled them, and it was snake eyes. And they said, nigga, it's you.
Right.
This the one right here. Everybody else rolling 7s and 11s. They hitting their point. Jonah crap out.
Right.
Is this? Maybe I'm making it up. Maybe I'm interpreting the scriptures wrong. Let's see what the next thing that happens when Jonah crapped out. Read on.
Verse 8. Then said they unto him, tell us, we pray thee, for whose cause this evil is upon us?
Nigga, why you on this boat trying to get us killed? Tell us, we prayed. Tell us why you trying to get us killed. How did they know that he was trying to get them killed? Because the lots was not with him. Everybody understands. Read on.
Come, sir. What is thine occupation? And whence comest thou?
So they said, what do you do for a living and where you coming from? Because guess what? He could have been a murderer.
Right.
He could have been a rapist. He could have been some horrible deviant.
Right.
But Jonah ended up telling them, man, I'm a prophet of the Lord and I'm running from my responsibility. They said, nigga, you better get off this boat.
Right.
They threw Jonah off. They said, listen, we don't want to be responsible for killing you, but you got to get off this boat.
Right.
Jonah jumped off the boat.
Right.
Goddamn, a big fish came and swallowed him. Everybody understands.
Like I said, he walked the plank.
He walked the plank. You know what I'm saying? That they didn't want blood on their hands. They said, listen, man, we don't want to kill you. So do the right thing and jump over the edge. And Jonah said, man, F y'all. And jumped over the edge. Everybody understands?
Right.
The giant fish swallowed him, and Jonah's life was hell from that point forward. But by casting lots, they knew that the Lord was against this man. Right. Everybody understands. Now let's go back to the book of Esther. That is what Haman did concerning the children of Israel. Haman gambled with our lives, gambled with our nation, gambled with our livelihood.
Right.
And why was it a gamble? Because this thing could have went one or two ways. Either Haman was going to be successful in destroying us, or it was going to be the other way around. Everybody understands. That's why the feast is called the Feast of Purim, because Haman gambled, and in the end, we're going to find out that he crapped out. Everybody understands. Come on with it. Now let's read verse 8. This is Esther chapter 3, verse 8.
Chapter 8, verse 8. And Haman said unto King Ahasuerus, there is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of thy kingdom, and their laws are diverse from all people. Neither keep they the king's laws, therefore it is not for the king's profit to suffer them.
Now, hear how the Bible says that the white man is the most subtle beast of the field. Everybody understands that, right? You go back to Genesis and you read about the serpent in the garden. Said he was the most subtle beast of the field. There's a term that they use today called dog whistle politics, right?
Right.
It's when the white man says one thing, but it really means something different. Like when the white man uses the term urban culture. They talking about niggas.
Right.
When they use the term, give me another term for black people they use today. That it's not black people, but it's one of them professional collegiate terms. Anybody? No. Minority, demographics. Yeah. Niggas and spics. Young brother. People of that's a little bit. We know who they talking about when they say that. But there's terms they use where it could be misconstrued who it's talking about. Meaning, okay, when they talk about urban culture, if you say that's a cold word for nigga, white people say that's not true. There's a lot of urban culture. You know what I'm saying? Urban culture could be talking about what's the name they use for young white people today? I don't even know. Come on with it. Not millennials. That's young people, period. Because some of y'all millennials. Not millennials. There's another term. What they call hippies today? They used to be called hippies, but they not hippies no more. Hipsters. I don't know no black hipsters. Do y'all? Do y'all know any black hipsters? No. Hipsters is white, goofy white people who, don't shower all the time, get high, and, no socks. That's hipster culture, right? Right? Well, the word urban, the white man use the word urban culture, you say, you're talking about black people. They say, no, that's cool hipsters too. Yeah, right. They is not talking about no hipsters when they talk about urban culture. Right. They ain't talking about Chinatown. They talking about niggas. Everybody understands? Right. Go ahead, Hadar.
They also use inner city.
Inner city, that's another one. You know what I'm saying? There's terms that they got. Well, dog whistle politics is saying coding something. Come on, Taza I.
Inner city is
really specific towards black people.
Come.
I'm trying to make the distinction. You talking about when they say minority, that could mean an array of people.
Come.
And like we want it to mean us, but it really don't mean us.
Okay, no.
Like it could mean us. Like
Okay, what I'm meaning is when they're talking directly about us.
oh, okay.
But when we say it's about us, white people say no, minorities is everybody.
Right.
When they talk about the minority vote, they ain't talking about Chinese people.
Right.
They ain't talking about East Indian people. Right. But if we say, why y'all talking about black people voting? They say, no, sir, the black minority is everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Like an example for that is that civil rights.
Yes. We believe that civil rights was about black people, right?
Right.
When in reality, civil rights was about everybody else.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So dog whistle politics is the white man codifying things, coming up with new terms to hide what he's really trying to say. That's what Haman did 3,000 years ago. What we just read is dog whistle politics. He's saying to the king, there's a people who, you know, they evil people. They don't listen to they don't obey no rules.
Right.
They don't obey no laws. They unlawful and unruly. When in reality, what were the Jews during the time of being ruled over by the Persians? We were good people. We followed all the laws. Mordecai was a good guy. He followed all the laws. He just wouldn't bow to this one cracker. But instead of the cracker saying, this is cat I don't like, he goes and tells the king, there's a people that, you know, they just don't follow no rules and they cause all kinds of problems and they don't obey none of the king's commandments. King, you shouldn't even have these people around. You should get rid of these people. Which makes the king say what? Yeah, these people sound evil. Get rid of them.
Right.
When in reality, just this one devil had a problem with one brother.
Right.
And that's devils for you.
Yeah.
Speaking in code, speaking in terms that for some people may be difficult to really decipher what they saying. Now, Haman could have just said, hey, king, it's this nigga that won't bow to me, man. I want his blood. But he know that there's a chance the king would not have respect to that kind of talk. The king might say, damn, Haman, you a hateful ass nigga.
Right.
You mad because one cat won't bow? You want to kill him because he won't bow?
Right.
Damn, you petty.
Right.
So Haman couldn't say that. Haman had to
Make some money.
sugarcoat it. He had to hide the real meaning of what he wanted in a bunch of glowing terms. That's devils for you. Everybody understands? Yeah. Anybody ever heard of just redlining is one of them terms? Anybody know what redlining is? Redlining is white people. What's this capital of Georgia? Atlanta's the capital? Okay, I thought it was Athens. Y'all sure, man? Is it Atlanta?
Yeah,
or is it Athens?
I think it's
Come on with it. Go ahead.
If anything, Athens might be playing capital. So.
Where's the governor at, man? Where the building where the laws get made at? Tell me, young.
Like I said, it used to be Augusta, but it changed to Atlanta.
Okay, so Atlanta's the capital. All right, boom. Well, how far is Decatur from here? Okay. Well, imagine some devils in Atlanta dividing up Decatur and deciding what money gets distributed where based on the taxes. Meaning the people in Decatur don't decide. The people in the governor's mansion decide how Decatur get broken up. And because of how they divide the lines of the city, black people on this side don't get none of the taxes, but the white people on the side of the city get all of the taxes. They get all of the things. Well, over in America, redlining was a time where they would meet and decide how much money gets to go to the black community based on these imaginary lines they draw on the streets. You understand? Which is why, I don't know how it is in Atlanta, but where I grew up in D.C., D.C. schools was horrible, the worst. But right across the street was Montgomery County, and Montgomery County is the richest county in America. And all the good schools is there. Who decided that this is where the poor schools would be and this is where the rich schools would be? Right. White people.
Yeah.
And they used it. They didn't call it, we're going to make nigger schools nothing. They called it redlining.
Right.
Everybody understand? Well, that's similar to what Haman did in sugarcoating what it is that he really wanted to accomplish. Everybody understands? All right, let's read on Esther chapter 3, verse 9.
Verse 9. If it please the king, let it be written that they may be destroyed. And I will pay 10,000 talents of silver to the hands of those that have charge of the business, to bring it into the king's treasuries. Verse 10. And the king took his ring from his hand and gave it unto Haman, the son of Hammedatha the Agagite, the Jews' enemy. Verse 11. And the king said unto Haman, the silver is given to thee, the people also to do with them as it seemeth good to thee.
You understand that by playing this political game, the king gave Haman what he wanted. He said, listen, man, you got my ring. You go ahead and draw up whatever decree you want. I put it all in your hands. So this man was given the power to destroy us because of how deceitfully he dealt with the king. Everybody understands?
Right.
So what we about to read now is on the... Well, I'm going to let him read the next verse. Go ahead.
Kanawakan. Verse 12. Then were the king's scribes called on the 13th day of the first month. And there was written according to all that Haman had commanded unto the king's lieutenants, and to the governors that were over every province, and to the rulers of every people of every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language. In the name of King Ahasuerus was it written, and sealed with the king's ring. Verse 13. And the letters were sent by post unto the king's provinces to destroy, to kill, and to cause to perish all Jews, both young and old.
Now, so it's been written, it's been decreed that we all going to die. And it's because of this Hagag, the son of Hamadatha, who was an Agagite. Now, we started off the class by talking about things that set off chains of events, right?
Right.
And how it's important to look at the root cause of issues that arise. The root cause of us being at the point of dying was Vashti disobeying the king. Because if Vashti hadn't disobeyed the king, he wouldn't have had to cancel her like Nino.
Right.
And the king wouldn't have had to choose a new woman.
Right.
And Esther wouldn't have ended up in the king's palace,
Right.
which meant that Mordecai wouldn't have been hanging out in the lobby or in the king's gate, which meant Mordecai would not have been there to not bow when Haman walked in the room.
Right.
Everybody see how all of that ties in together, right?
Kanawakan.
Well, let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 8. See, a lot of times you read the Bible, especially coming up in the church, you might read the Bible and you will think God is evil. You say, God killing all these people, man, all these people dying. Why is God putting all these people to death? Well, maybe, just maybe, God knows more than you. Maybe, just maybe, God is better than you. Everybody understands?
Kanawakan.
Maybe, just maybe, God doesn't do things for no reason. Maybe God does things because he loves us. And because he knows what's coming down the pike and he's trying to protect us. Everybody understands?
Kanawakan.
Now, we hear in Esther where it has just been decreed that all Israelites are going to die at the hands of this one Edomite from the tribe of Agag. Now, let's read 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 8. You got it out.
The book of 1 Samuel.
Matter of fact, let me get 1 Samuel chapter... Hold on. Give me 1 Samuel chapter 15 and 1. We're going to start at verse 1.
Okay. The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 15, verses 1. Samuel also said unto Saul, the Lord sent me to anoint thee to be king over his people, over Israel. Now therefore hearken thou unto the voice of the words of the Lord.
Now, Samuel is telling Saul, the Lord sent me to anoint you to be the king over this people. Listen to the words of the Lord and do what he said to do. Read on.
Okay. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way, when he came up from Egypt.
The Lord said, I remembered Amalek. I remembered what he did to Israel when he laid in the way and he came up against us from Egypt. Everybody understand? Does anybody know what this is referencing? Let's go. Let's get Genesis chapter 36. No, hold up. Exodus chapter 17. Let's get Exodus 17, 1 through 8. So Samuel is talking to Saul. And it's saying to Saul, who's the king, the Lord has remembered Amalek. What Amalek did to the children of Israel when we came out of Egypt. I'm about to read to you now what Amalek did to us when we came out of Egypt. Everybody understands?
Come.
Go ahead, you got it.
You said verse
Yeah,
one,
Exodus 17 and 8.
8. Come.
Come. No. 17. Let me see something. Exodus 17, chapter 1. Hold up. Boom, boom, boom.
Verse 1, sir.
Nah, it might be. Hold on.
Verse
No.
1 through 8.
Give me 17. Let's just go straight to verse 8. Okay, so this is a time after we came out of Egypt, right? We traveling through the wilderness. And as we travel through the wilderness, these other nations that we are encountering are coming against us. Everybody understands? So here we are, Exodus 17 and 8.
The book of Exodus, chapter 17, verse 8. Then came Amalek and fought with Israel in Rephidim. Verse 9. And Moses said unto Joshua, choose us out men and go out, fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on the top of the hill with the rod of Yahweh in my hand. Verse 10. So Joshua did as Moses had said to him, and fought with Amalek. And Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. Verse 11. And it came to pass, when Moses held up his head, that Israel prevailed. And when he let down his head, Amalek prevailed.
So Moses said, listen, he told Joshua, he said, get you some men. Y'all going to go out and fight against Amalek. I'm going to go stand on this hill, and I'm going to hold my hand up, and y'all going to go to battle. So they went out there, and Moses held his hand up. They was winning the war. They was battling. Moses let his hand down. That was time to retreat. They all started to retreat. Let's read on.
Come. Verse 12. But Moses' hands were heavy.
What does that mean? Moses' hands were heavy. Remember, his hand was up. They was winning. His hand came down. They was losing. The Bible now is telling us that Moses' hand was heavy. What does that mean? Why is it telling us his hand was heavy? Young brother. No. Come on with it.
It's like his hands was tired.
His hands was tired. Meaning Moses' hands came down, but Moses still wanted the people to fight. We was winning. His hand was up. But Moses is an old cat. How long could think an old cat holding his hand up like this?
Yeah.
There's a whole battle going on down there. He watching cats die, swords, and getting stabbed through the chest. Moses out there, the battle took longer than what he thought. Moses' hand came down, not because he was ready for the battle to be done, but because he was tired.
Come.
So let's see what happened next.
Come. Verse 12. But Moses' hands were heavy, and they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat thereon. And Aaron and Hur stayed up his hands, the one on the one side, and the other on the other side. And his hands were steady until the going down of the sun.
So they said, listen, Moses, man, take a seat, man. You old, man. He's got a stone for Moses to sit on. And one brother went on one side of Moses to hold this arm up, and another brother went on the other side. So Moses just chilling. And they holding his hands up, and then guess what? The battle waged on. They fought till the sun went down. They got it in. Everybody understands. Read on.
Verse 13. And Joshua discomfited Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword.
Discomfited means they triumphed over them. Or they made them uncomfortable. You understand? They overcame the Amalekites. Everybody understands?
Come.
Read on.
And the Lord said unto Moses, write this for a memorial in a book, and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua. For I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven.
The Lord said, write this in a memorial and remember it, for I will wipe off the Amalek. I will wipe out Amalek from off the earth. Everybody understands? The Lord said, remember, I promise you I'm going to wipe out Amalek. Now, let's go back to 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 8. Because the Lord is now reminding us about what he promised about Amalek. Right? So now the Lord is about to talk to Saul. It's like 1 Samuel 15 and 3. Now the Lord is about to tell Saul what it is that he wants him to do concerning the Amalekites. Read on.
1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 3. Now go and smite Amalek, and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not.
Now the Lord said, go and kill all of the Amalekites. Don't let leave none of them alive. And you might think God is wrong for that. Why would God want to wipe a whole people off the face of the earth? Well, God wanted to wipe his people off the face of the earth because he owed them that. Because they tried to wipe us off the face of the earth. You understand? Read on.
And spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass.
The Lord said, kill everything alive in the land of Amalek. Kill every man, every woman, every child. Kill every goat, every sheep, every ox, every cow. Kill everything moving in the land of Amalek. Everybody understand? Now let's drop down to verse 8. Yeah, go ahead, you got it.
Verse 8. And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive, and utterly destroyed the people with the edge of the sword. Verse 9. But Saul and the people spared Agag, and the best of the sheep, and of the oxen, and of the fatlings, and the lamb, and all that was good, and would not utterly destroy them, but everything that was vile and refuse, that they destroyed utterly.
Now, what did Saul do? Saul did not obey the Lord.
Right.
Saul was merciful to Agag the king.
Right.
Saul was greedy because he wanted the best of the sheep and the best of the cows. Because this man refused to obey the Lord in killing Agag, generations later, Haman, the Agagite, how did he get the name Agagite? Because he's a descendant of Agag. Is now in a position to kill every single Israelite born. This is why it's important to follow orders, man.
Right.
That's why it's important to do what the Lord said to do. Because Saul did not obey the Lord during the time of the Persian and the Mede Empire, and Agagite was in a position to kill every single Israelite living. When guess what? If Saul would have done what the Lord said to do, wouldn't have been no Agagites anywhere ever, because they all would have been dead. Wouldn't have been no threat against the children of Israel.
Yeah.
If Saul did his job. Now, how many people have read this scripture about Agag and thought, oh God, you know what? Saul thought, God is wrong, man. God, why God want me to kill all the Agagites, man? Why I gotta kill all the animals? Why I can't? I spare one nigga. You spare one nigga, a nation of devils will rise and will overthrow your people. Yeah. You want to know who Amalek is in the earth today? Yeah. Amalek is the Jew.
Yeah.
The white man that calls himself a Jew, that rules and, man, listen, I don't want to take 5 hours. I tell you everything the Jew do on earth. I tell you everything he own and everything he run. Yeah. The goddamn Nazis in Germany, everything. The Jews is behind it all.
Yeah.
The damn TV, the internet, the civil rights movement, the homosexuality, you understand? The drugs. White Jews are behind all of that.
Yeah.
Imagine Saul could have put an end to it if he'd have just did what the Lord said to do. But you get mercy, nigga? You think you know more than the Lord? You more merciful than God? Who the hell are you?
Right.
Lord tell you to do something, do it.
Yeah.
Because the consequences are dire. Right. Everybody understands. Come on with it, y'all, my y'all.
They behind still in our identity too.
Listen, all of that. Yeah. He called himself the Jew. Why? Because you didn't want to be a Jew. Saul didn't want to be a Jew.
Right.
He didn't love what God gave him. God made him king and said, you king, go kill all of these Amalekites. He killed all of them to get to the king. And you feel sad for him? What you look at him and say, oh, this white man, he's a pretty white man. Look at this white man. I done killed all his women and the babies and everything else. Oh. Right. You know what he did? He wanted a trophy. You read in 1 Samuel 15, Saul made Agag his right-hand man. Wow. Not because he loved Agag, because he clowned him. He clowned this cracker his whole life. Clowned him. Kept him around just to, watch him see the glory of niggas. But that ain't what the Lord wanted for that devil. The Lord wanted that devil to die. So that all of these devils would have been dead, because the Lord saw that generations later, devils was going to put our lives on the line. Devils were going to cast lots for us. Everybody understand? Everything has a ripple effect, man. Nothing that you do is isolated. That goes for all of us. There's something that the Lord going to tell you to do in your life the same way he told Saul to kill Agag. And you're going to have second thoughts. You're going to have doubts. Do what the Lord told you to do.
Right.
Because you don't know what the hell ripple you're going to cause by not doing what the Lord said to do. Right. You understand? Saul spared one nigga, and the whole nation of Israel was at the threat of dying at the hands of the people who the Lord said to wipe out. Everybody understands? All right, drop that. Let's go back to Esther. Where was we at? 3 and 19?
Salaki.
Or 3 and 13?
Yeah, we was at 3 and 13.
We could drop off of that, right? Okay, so let's get Esther. I'm trying not to read the whole book, right?
Right.
So, for time's sake, the decree went out. Mordecai and all the Israelites and all the places where we were heard the news that anybody who's a Jew is going to be murdered on this day, right? What do you think the first thing that people started to do when that decree went out? There's a law passed that on, June 17th, all Israelites are going to be put to death. What do y'all think the first thing people started to do was? Yeah. After that. So fear, being afraid, of course, damn, they going to kill us all. What's the second thing that they started to do? Hold on, young man.
Panic.
Give me an action. Brother in the back.
It's like when they started fighting against the Israelites?
Nope. Hadar.
So they started to pray?
Nope. Sis. What you mean?
Get away, try to get away.
There's nowhere to go because everywhere the law been passed everywhere. The law is sent everywhere. Everybody knows the Israelites kill them. Come on, sis. Say it. But okay, you right. How else? How would they try to blend in? Right now, if you wanted to blend in, what would you do?
I guess act like them.
Okay, how would we view it? You acting like them would be you trying to be like them. What would we say about you? She say, y'all say some horrible things about me. She said there's kids in the room. I can't say that. Like gun.
Serving other gods.
No, not quite. Hadar.
They sold out.
Yes. Sold out. That was the first thing. Give him a hand. Clap it up for the brother. Clap it up for the sister, matter of fact. You understand? Everybody denounced being an Israelite. The law was passed saying all Israelites dead on June 17th. Niggas said, yeah. Niggas went and shaved their beard, cut their hair off. You understand? Niggas went and got a marriage license. I got one wife, sir. I'm a good nigga. Niggas, all that Israelite shit went out the window. Everybody understand?
Right.
That's the first thing they did was denounce being an Israelite.
Salakia.
Come on with it.
They went back to being a Christian.
Yes, they went to being whatever the hell was not dying on June 17th. They said, damn, now the law was passed. Israelites dead on June 17th. Niggas said, yeah, man, I'm Punta Kinte from the Maasai tribe. Niggas, you know what I'm saying? Niggas went, they would say, hey, what's up, Soccer War? Man, I'm Kevin Thompson, brother. What you talking about? I'm Soccer War, man. Fuck is you trying to get me killed, nigga? I'm Kevin Thompson. Niggas went and denounced everything about being an Israelite. Everybody understand? Let's read Esther chapter. Well, so there was some people that denounced being an Israelite, but then there was hardcore brothers like Mordecai.
Right.
Who everybody know he an Israelite. He done did too much to turn back. There's some of us we can never go back.
Right.
Me, I can't never go back. I don't give a damn. I shave my face and I do everything to try to blend in. Y'all niggas will see me at my corporate job and say, Cap, what happened, man? I'm like, nigga, I don't know you. What the fuck are you talking to? You know what I'm saying? Some of us can't. We done did too much. I can't go back out. That's it for me. Decree passed tomorrow that all Israelites dead, then we going to pray to the Lord.
Right.
You understand? Because I cannot go back to being a Christian.
Right.
I cannot turn my back on, what the Lord has chosen for me.
Right,
And that should go for all of us. All of us should realize that the Lord has chosen this for us. You may think you woke up one day and decided to be an Israelite, but you did not. Your horrible life decided that you was going to be. God decided you was going to be an Israelite when you were born. But you may have run from it your whole life, but God made sure your life made sure that you would be back here. Those of us that's here right now, it's not a coincidence that we in this room. It's not a coincidence that we celebrating this Feast of Purim while the world is doing what it's doing. God brought you here. Through all the things that you've experienced, all the trials and tribulations, the ups and the downs, the good decisions and the bad ones that you made. You here tonight because the Lord wanted you to be here. Everybody understand? So some brothers understood that like Mordecai, and they would not run. They would not hide. You understand? Let me see something. We're gonna read Esther 4:1 down to verse 4. All right.
Esther chapter 4 verse 1. When Mordecai perceived all that was done, Mordecai rent his clothes and put on sackcloth with ashes, and went out into the midst of the city, and cried with a loud and bitter cry. Verse 2, and came even before the king's gate, for none might enter into the king's gate clothed with sackcloth.
Now Mordecai went and ripped his clothes up. He covered his head in ashes, and he went and cried in the city. Everybody understands?
Okay.
Just so you can understand this, Israelites had a custom where when we were in mourning, we didn't get fly. We didn't get fresh. We didn't comb our hair and make sure our beard was, greased up. We went out in the street in the bummy clothes and sackcloth, and we cried. We let our anger and our sadness be known. Everybody understand? Mordecai went out there, put on that sackcloth, and he cried in the city. Mordecai was in such mourning that he went to the king's gate. Now, of course, remember, the king's gate is like a big palace, a big place where people go, you understand, where the king is. You gonna come and be before the king's gate, you gotta dress fly, man. You gotta be fresh. You gotta be looking like you got some money. Well, Mordecai went there with the sackcloth on. Mordecai went to the king's gate in mourning so that everybody would see what he was going through. Read on.
Verse 3, and in every province, wheresoever the king's commandment and his decree came, there was great mourning among the Jews, and fasting, and weeping, and wailing, and many lay in sackcloth and ashes.
You understand? So all over where this decree it went forth, the Israelites who would not sell out, the Israelites who would not try to blend in, they covered themselves in sackcloth and they were mourning. Read on.
Verse 4, so Esther's maids and her chamberlains came and told it to her. Then was the queen exceedingly grieved, and she sent raiment to clothe Mordecai, and to take away his sackcloth from him. But he received it not.
So they went and tried to comfort Mordecai. He said, nah, man, ain't no comfort in me. I don't want none of y'all sympathy. Everybody understands? Okay. Drop down to verse 7.
Verse 7, and Mordecai told him of all that had happened unto him, and of the sum of the money that Haman had promised to pay to the king's treasuries for the Jews to destroy them.
So Haman sent word to Esther about everything that had transpired. Because again, Esther's the queen. She in the king's palace all day. She ain't hearing about no decree. She ain't hearing about what's going on in the hood. She up there in high society. Everybody understand?
Right.
Mordecai sent word, baby girl, they trying to destroy us. They didn't pass this decree and we all going to die on June 17th. And he done told the king he was going to pay him $10 million for us to be destroyed. Read on.
Verse 8. Also, he gave him the copy of the writing of the decree that was given at Shushan to destroy them, to shew it unto Esther, and to declare it unto her, and to charge her that she should go in unto the king, to make supplication unto him, and to make requests before him for her people.
So now Moses is charging Esther with using her power, using her position as queen to help your people. Now is the time, Esther. Your people need you. You understand? Read on.
Verse 9. And Hattab came and told Esther the words of Mordecai. Verse 10. Again Esther spake unto Hattab, and gave him commandment unto Mordecai. Verse 11. All the king's servants and the people of the king's province do know that whosoever, whether man or woman, shall come unto the king into the inner court, who is not called, there is one law of him to put him to death, except such to whom the king shall hold out the golden scepter, that he may live. But I have not been called to come in unto the king these 30 days.
Now Esther's response to Mordecai is, Salakia, they got a rule where if the king don't call for you and you go before him unannounced, you gonna die. Everybody understands? Right. Now think about this rule. Why did the king have a rule that unless he called for you, you could not come before him unannounced, or else you could be put to death? Think about what started all of this. All of this started with an unruly woman, right?
Right.
So now the king got a law where if I don't call for you, you can't come before me in the palace, or else you might be put to death. What is the king trying to stop from happening? Young man.
He's trying to maintain order.
Okay, how does that maintain order? Who is the king afraid of coming before him unannounced? Hadar. One of his ribs. Because the king could be dealing with one of his ribs. Then the other one, the queen, come unannounced. Now she catch him dealing with another rib. And she thought she raising hell. The king was such a player that he made a law. Well, you can't come before me unannounced. He get to do what he do. One of his women come unannounced. It's a law, baby. You got to die now.
Damn.
He done passed the law the way them women stay in order. Stay in line. Everybody understands? Mm-hmm. Now, if y'all think that's drastic, you may not have ever had a woman and you get caught with another woman. You might need to have rules in place where, unless I call for you, don't come. Everybody understands?
Right.
When the king had this law in place, everybody understands?
All
right. So Esther is saying to Mordecai, if I go and the king don't receive me, I could die.
Right.
Read on.
Khan, verse 12. And they told to Mordecai Esther's words. Verse 13. Then Mordecai commanded to answer Esther, think not with thyself that thou shalt escape in the king's house, more than all the Jews.
Mordecai said, now listen, woman, don't be selfish. Don't think that you're going to escape more than all the rest of us. Read on.
Khan. Verse 14. For if thou altogether holdest thy peace at this time, then shall their enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place. But thou and thy father's house shall be destroyed. And who knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this?
Understand, when you in the truth, brother, nothing can shake you from the truth. Right. When you put your faith in the Most High, nothing can shake your faith in the Most High.
Right.
Mordecai said to Esther, don't think about yourself only. Because if you keep quiet right now, the Lord is going to find another way to deliver this nation.
Right.
But you and your father's house going to be destroyed for your selfishness.
Right.
Woman, maybe this is why the Lord have you to become queen in the first place.
Right.
He could have put you there so that when this time came, he would use you to deliver us.
Right.
Mordecai understands the ripple effect.
Right.
Mordecai understands that things don't happen for no reason. Now, what is the law in Israel about marrying heathens? Raise your hand. Anybody? Yeah. It's unlawful to marry heathens, right?
Right.
Why would Mordecai have Esther marry a heathen king? Huh? Was Mordecai wrong for Esther marrying the king? Was Mordecai evil for having Esther marry the king? Maybe Mordecai was praying and thinking that the Lord is going to make something good come of this.
Right.
It's good that this sister use her beauty in this situation. It's good that this sister be an honorable woman and be a righteous woman, even if she's marrying a heathen king. Maybe Mordecai understood that there's some things that's greater than how we might see them. Maybe the Lord got a way that we can't see.
Right.
Well, Mordecai had the sister go do it. She married the king. Then this came, and Mordecai said, well, that's it. Woman, the Lord wanted you to be in that position to use your influence to save your people.
Right.
Now, maybe you don't trust how I trust. Maybe you don't have faith like I got faith. Mordecai prophesied to Esther. The Lord's still going to find a way to deliver us, but he's going to kill you and you're going to destroy you and your father's house.
Right.
Esther knows Mordecai is an Israelite in the truth.
Yeah.
And here's how she responded to Mordecai's warning. Read on.
Khan. Verse 15. Then Esther bade them return Mordecai this answer. Verse 16. Go gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast ye for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day. I also and my maidens will fast likewise.
Esther said, all right, Mordecai, you right. Please gather all the Jews together in Shushan and pray for me. And fast. Fast for 3 days. Now, this is another thing that is cultural in Israel. Fasting is important. Everybody understand?
Right.
You struggling with something, you battling something in your life, you having something that's difficult you can't overcome, you should fast. Fasting can be many different things. You can fast from food. You can fast from water. You can fast from drinking alcohol. You can fast from sex if you get permission from your partner. You sisters, don't you Don't tell your man, I'm fasting, baby. You can't get none of this. Don't do that.
Right.
Because immediately I ain't going to think about no fasting. I'm going to say, ho? Well, what's the nigga name and where he at? Go be with that nigga. Everybody understands. Brothers, don't do that to your woman. Don't say, oh, baby, I'm fasting. She going to say, what's the bitch name? Where's she at? You at least could have been honorable about it, nigga. Tell me you got another rib. Everybody understands.
Right.
If you're going to fast from sex and you married, you have to get permission from your partner. Everybody understands. There's a scripture in 1 Corinthians, the 7th chapter, that says that when you marry, your body don't belong to you, her body don't belong to her. Everybody understands. That thing belong to me, and what I got belong to her. Everybody understands. Come on with it.
Salaki, sir, if I may.
Yeah.
Salaki to the men above me on this side. But when the Ottawa says, do you understand? It's Khan, Ottawa Khan.
That's right.
Does everybody understand?
That's right.
Everybody should say, "Come on, come" when the brother say that. All right. Don't sweat the water. You understand? So, fasting is very important, and it's something that in this time now we should understand and start to implement in our daily lives. Fasting is not something that really anybody is going to tell you to do unless you get some counsel. But don't be afraid to fast. Everybody understands. That goes for you brothers. That goes for you sisters. You young men. You officers. Fasting changes things in your life. Whatever you're struggling, whatever you're battling against, fast and pray. Everybody understands. Does anybody know what fasting does? Why fasting is important? Just real quick, young brother.
Afflict thy spirit.
What does that mean?
Teach yourself not to be selfish.
What does that mean? Come on with it.
Discipline, sir.
Okay, how do you get discipline from fasting?
Sir.
Come on with it.
Basically, when you get into discipline, you're afflicting yourself from pleasures or things that you want to do.
Okay, it's a little bit deeper than that. Come on with it.
So you're fighting your flesh.
You're fighting your flesh. What does your flesh want? To eat. God damn it, I'm hungry. Right now, I'm hungry. No, like literally, I'm hungry right now, right? But I got to teach the class, right? But I might be thirsty. I want to drink. You understand? Oh, I might want to have sex with this woman. You understand? I might want to get high. Well, if my flesh wants to get high, I got to teach my body it can't have what it want all the time. A good way of teaching myself a lesson is to not eat for a day, because not only do I want to eat, I need to eat. I might want to drink, but I'm not going to drink. Not only do I want to drink, I need to drink. When you fast, you're holding back from your body things that not only does it want, but it needs. And if I can go a day without drinking water, even though my body needs it, then surely I can go without these cigarettes.
Right.
If I can go a day without eating, even though I'm hungry. Like the Dalmatian, anybody see that 101 Dalmatian cartoon?
Right.
The dog said, I'm hungry, mommy, feed me. That was me as a kid. That's why I'm this way now, goddammit. Because every time I'm hungry, mommy, she would feed me. But now I got to teach myself that sometimes you got to resist. Everybody understands. But if you can go without eating, then guess what? You can turn down that tail she got.
Right.
You can go without eating. You can turn down things in your life that are tempting you. You're going through a difficult time and you want to go get drunk. You just want to go get drunk and drown your sorrows. Maybe you should fast and pray and ask the Lord to give you strength. Maybe you should fast and pray and ask the Lord to see you through, and then you'll teach yourself how to overcome. Everybody understands?
Question, if I may, sir.
Come on with it.
So when you're fasting, sir.
Not now. I do that. Go ahead.
So when you're fasting, sir, it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to fast from food and water.
No, you don't have to only fast from food and water.
So if I just decide I'm going to fast from social media, if I'm going to fast from TV, I can do those things.
That's healthy. You want to pick that phone up. You want to go Facebook. Fast from Facebook. I suggest you fast from Facebook, once a week. Go a day or 6 hours, no internet.
Yeah.
And here's what you're going to find. You're going to say to yourself, I'm not going to pick up this phone for 6 hours. About 10 minutes going to go past and you're going to be like, you're going to say, nah, man. A lot of you don't know you addicted to things that you addicted to. COVID-19 has showed a lot of us that we was addicted to stuff we didn't know we was addicted to.
Right.
There's a lot of people that's addicted to, the happy hour. Didn't even know that they need happy hour to function. COVID-19 came with no happy hour. People in their house looking at their kids like, what the is they doing? I got to get away from these people. You understand? A lot of you didn't know that you was addicted to to being seen all the time. I think we in Atlanta. Well, we in Decatur. How y'all fly niggas too? I don't know what I'm talking about. You like to be seen all the time with your new outfit and your new purse and your new shoes.
That's right.
Well, guess what? COVID-19 shut everything down. Now what's your closet hitting for? Nigga, nothing. All them clothes for no goddamn reason. There was people didn't even know they was addicted to being seen in nice clothes until they couldn't be seen no more.
Right.
Now they depressed, beard all funky. I watched, when COVID-19 hit, I looked at all the celebrity niggas and watched them in their true appearance. I watched P. Diddy get a goddamn beard that looked like this and it was all gray and raggedy. That nigga old, he an old nigga, man. P. Diddy ain't doing nothing. I watched DJ Khaled go from looking like a Mexican to a full out Arab. DJ Khaled beard grew, the nigga hairline disappeared. He got the funky whatever that shit called. So like some of you brothers may have it too, but the widow's peak, whatever that is, when you DJ Khaled is Arab. Thought he was Mexican this whole time.
Right.
But guess what? COVID-19 hit and everybody's true colors showed forth.
Right.
But guess what? It was good for them because you get to snap out of your illusion.
Yeah.
You get to deal with the reality of things, and that's what fasting does for you.
Yep.
You understand? Fast from social media, man. Fast from being out all the time. Fast from alcohol. It can do wonders for your life. Everybody understands? Come on with it, Napas.
I was saying, like, they have a girl like this called fangs.
It calls what?
Fangs.
Fangs? Okay, all right. Well, niggas had fangs. You understand? They didn't know. They couldn't get to that barbershop, and the fangs was there. But guess what? All of those things can be beneficial. Everybody understands? A lot of people looked at that. I ain't gonna lie. I learned a lot with that COVID. I learned that I need to be around people. I'm down there in Memphis, I'm trying to build a camp down there, and COVID-19 came, and I couldn't go nowhere. I couldn't, my job ain't even want me to come in. I realized I need to talk to people. I'm on the internet. I'm going live every day, teaching 10 classes a week because I need to interact with people.
Right.
I didn't realize that. I always thought I was a loner until I had to be alone. I realized this shit ain't where it's at. That's why I'm here with y'all tonight. I need to get away. The ICE came to Memphis last week. I said, I can't do this. But I was in the house like this. I can't do this no more. I got to get around some brothers. I flew to Florida. The Lord allowed me to be here with y'all tonight. It's a beautiful thing. You understand? But when you learn to recognize different things about yourself, if you don't like what you see, fast. Pray. That's right. Ask the Lord to give you strength. Ask the Lord to get you through it. Everybody understands? Come on with it.
So heavy what you're saying, sir, because when I think about it, I think about the Christian church. As I've mentioned before, the Christian church has been shut down, and that's the reason why a lot of us are still alive today. Because the Christian church is closed because of that. And also, with it being closed, and us having to stay home, it gives us time to reflect, and that's the time where some of us can hear. Some of us will have the opportunity to then, when we're coming to them and speaking to them, without the cloudiness from the lives of the Christian church, when we can speak to them, then they can come in because they're hearing. So the Most High has done a beautiful thing.
For sure. The Lord, like everything, is a ripple effect. The Lord know what He's doing, and it's serving His purpose. Everybody understands? All right, so let's get back to Esther. Esther 5 and, where were we? So, where was we at?
It's like we was at 4 and
well, she asked for them to pray. Asked them to pray for her.
So like we was at 4 and 16.
Okay, read on. Matter of fact, we could drop that. So Esther asked Mordecai, have all the Jews pray for 3 days. Please pray for me. Y'all fast for 3 days. I'm going to fast for 3 days. My maiden's going to fast for 3 days, right? So they prayed and they fasted. And what are they praying and they fasting for? They praying that the Lord be with Esther.
Right.
Because Esther about to go before the king. And the king could receive her. Or the king could say, bitch, what you doing here? I ain't called for you. And now, because of the law, you got to be put to death. Everybody understand? So let's read what happened when Esther went to present herself before the king. It's Esther chapter 5, verse 1.
Esther chapter 5, verse 1. Now it came to pass on the 3rd day that Esther put on her royal apparel and stood in the inner court of the king's house, over against the over against the king's house. And the king sat upon his royal throne in the royal house, over against the gate of the house.
So guess what Esther did? Esther went and got fly. Esther went and put on her freakum dress. I know y'all, some of y'all sisters, I know y'all holy, y'all righteous, y'all in the truth, but y'all got that dress. You want to let your man know, yeah, baby. Come on.
That's right.
Trying to make him, you know what I mean?
Right.
Whatever you trying to do. Y'all, brothers, y'all know. You come home and you see your woman, you say, okay, I know what time it is tonight.
Right.
Go ahead and have me a drink.
Right.
Well, guess what? Esther put that dress on. Esther said, I'm going to let the king know what he been missing. She go put on her dress and she go stand out there in the court. She ain't even come to the king, to the throne. She just out there prancing around in her little dress, just doing whatever women do when they being cute. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Let's read on.
Got on con. Verse 2. And it was so, when the king saw Esther, the queen, standing in the court, that she obtained favor in his sight. And the king held out to Esther the golden scepter that was in his hand. So Esther drew near and touched the top of the scepter.
So he saw her standing out there. He said, that's my baby Esther. What's going on, baby? Come on. He held out the scepter towards her, meaning he's showing her that she's approved the approach.
Right.
Read on.
Got on con. Verse 3. Then said the king unto her, what wilt thou, Queen Esther? And what is thy request? It shall be given, it shall even given thee to the half of the kingdom. Verse 4. And Esther answered, if it seem good unto the king, let the king and Haman come this day unto the banquet that I have prepared for him. Verse 5. Then the king said, cause Haman to make haste, that he may do as Esther hath said.
So Esther came forward to the king and said, King, I just want to have a banquet where I can sit down with you and sit down with Haman, and we have a wonderful dinner. Everybody understands? So the king say, all right, no sweat, Esther, we're going to do that, right? So then Haman gets news that the king is inviting him to a banquet. So Haman is like, man, I'm in there now. The king is inviting me to a banquet. I get to go eat dinner with him and the queen. To Haman, this is a great honor, right?
Right.
Drop down to, hold up. Boom, boom, boom. All right, drop that. Let's go to the next. Let's go to Esther chapter 6, right?
Got on con.
Now, let's get Esther 6:1. So during the day, Esther went and presented herself before the king and asked for the banquet. King said, yeah, we're going to have this banquet. The king invited Haman. Haman excited, go home and tell his woman, the king invited me to a dinner, man. I'm about to do it big. He about to anoint me. Haman excited. Well, that night, while the king is sleeping, the Lord deals with the king. Let's read it.
Got on con. This is Esther chapter 6 verse 1. On that night could not the king sleep, and he commanded to bring the book of records of the Chronicles, and they were read before the king. Verse 2. And it was found written that Mordecai had told of Bigthana and Theresh, two of the king's chamberlains, the keepers of the door, who sought to lay hand on the king Ahasuerus.
So that night the king could not sleep. And what woke him out, when he was woken out of his sleep, he asked for the records to be brought forth. And as he's reading the records, he sees that this Mordecai cat saved him from being killed by two of these cats that was plotting on him.
Right.
So the king like, damn, I ain't even know about this. This cat, man, he honorable cat. Right. So the next day, the king goes to Haman. And he say, Haman, if I wanted to honor a man, if I wanted to glorify a man, if I wanted to let all the people in the city know that there was a man who should be honored and who should be loved and who should be respected, what should I do for that man? Now, Haman, being the devil that he is, thinks the king is talking about him. So he tells the man should be honored. That man should be decked out in the finest clothes, given the king's ring, paraded around the city and shown the glory of this man.
Right.
The whole time the king was talking about Mordecai.
Right.
So this nigga who refused to bow to Haman because he was an honorable nigga.
Right.
And this devil was a deceitful devil. Mordecai was honored and Haman had to watch. Everybody understand? Slaki. Let me see that. Let me drop down to Esther chapter 6. Drop down to verse 7. Matter of fact, hold up. Drop down to Esther 6:10.
Then, Slaki, verse 10. Then the king said to Haman, make haste, and take the apparel and the horse, as thou hast said, and do even so to Mordecai the Jew, that sitteth at the king's gate. Let nothing fail of all that has spoken.
Now, after Haman finished telling the king what should be done to the honorable man, the king said, go get Mordecai the Jew, and everything you just told to me, make sure it's done to Mordecai. Now, Haman is, remember, this all started with Haman casting lots. Right. Haman cast his lots to destroy the Jews, to destroy Mordecai. And the Lord, the king just told Haman, get Mordecai and put him on that horse and anoint him and parade him before the city.
Right.
Haman is beginning to realize he done crapped out.
Right.
Everybody understand? Keep reading.
Verse 11. Then took Haman the apparel and the horse, and arrayed Mordecai, and brought him on horseback through the street of the city, and proclaimed before him, thus shall it be done unto the man whom the king delighteth to honor. Verse 12. And Mordecai came again unto the king's gate, but Haman hasted to his house mourning, and having his beard, having his head covered.
Now, Mordecai came to the king's house to be honored. Haman ran like a bitch to his wife. And listen, brothers, understand this, man. Sometimes you're going to go through things in life. Your woman should not be your counselor. Right. Your woman should not be the one you, don't let your woman be the one you cry to. Unless it's something personal, something with your kids or something with y'all relationship, don't cry to your woman. It's not her responsibility. And she could cry to you. She's supposed to cry to you. You're supposed to be her counselor and her healer and everything.
Right.
Brother, you got counselors in here to cry to.
Right.
You shouldn't have cry to your woman. There's some things that your woman should not see.
Right.
Everybody understands. Haman is a white man, however, and they are all bitches.
Right.
This white man went and cried to his white woman, and he's a hoe. Brothers, don't be a hoe. Don't be Haman. Everybody understands. Now, and I say that only because it's not a slight against the sisters, right? But brother, you supposed to be a pillar of strength to her.
Right.
A pillar of masculinity and a pillar of holding it together. Brother,
Right.
if you afraid, if you worried, if you don't know what you should do, come to us and get help with that. Don't go to your woman.
That's
Understand?
right.
And I'm telling you this from your woman might be going through, y'all together might be going through something horribly unimaginable. Brother, cry to me and let her cry to you. Right. But don't cry to her. Everybody understand? And that's not to say you can't cry. Again, y'all could be both experiencing something that's troubling for the both of y'all. Y'all can cry together, but don't cry to her. Okay, she do something horribly heinous. Don't cry to her out.
Right.
Because them tears is not going to help you at all. Them tears is going to make you more of whatever horrible thing she thinks of you. Cry to me. So I can tell you, all right, brother, that's good. You all right? Stop that. You got it out. You said don't. Okay, then what you got to do first, brother, is not that.
Right.
Ever in front of her.
Right.
Now you go home and deal with that. Right. Haman went and cried like a bitch to his woman, and his woman said, "Nigga, you fucked us up." Basically, read the last. Salaki, read the last verse. Read verse 13. Salaki.
Verse 13. And Haman told Zeresh, his wife, and all his friends everything that had befallen him.
So Haman went and cried to his woman. Baby at work, I messed up, baby. Guess what happened? He told her everything. I did, and he crying because he's scared. Now let's see what his woman say to him. Here's a lesson of why you shouldn't cry to your woman. Let's see if Haman's wife comforts him. See if Haman's wife make him feel better. Let's see if she say, "Oh, baby, it's gonna be all right." Here's what happens when you cry to your woman. Here's what happens. Everybody saying, read.
Then said his wise men, and Zeresh his wife unto him, if Mordecai be of the seed of the Jews, before whom thou hast begun to fall, thou shalt not prevail against him, but shall surely fall above him. Surely fall before him.
She said, "Oh yeah, you effed up." And if Mordecai's the one you was against, he's prevailing and he gonna win. She ain't to comfort you, brother. That's not her job. Is to be there to tell you it's gonna be all right. Your woman can't say, "Oh baby, don't worry about it. It's gonna be okay." She gonna say, "Oh yeah, nigga, you effed up. That's what you get."
Right.
You gonna rub it in your face. You think you gonna cry and say, "Oh baby, I love you. Please forgive me." Nigga, you a hoe. You was a bitch. You this and that. Yeah. That's basically what Zeresh said. What you crying to me for, nigga? That's what you get.
Right.
You tried to play Mordecai, now you getting played, and that's the end of it. Don't go to your woman out with your tears and your sadness and your worries, because she gonna say, "What you want me to do, nigga? You should have been the man about it. You should have been a hoe."
Yeah.
You understand? Get some counsel to help. Get some help. Maybe some things you might have to confess. Don't confess to your woman. Come confess here, sir. I effed up. You know, I had one woman that was a problem, and I thought I could get two, and the second one to make it better. But now I got two women that's a problem. Don't confess to your woman that this other woman is a problem, because brother, that's not going to help you at all. Don't whine to one woman about another woman. Brother, don't do that. Come get some help. Everybody understand? I'm just trying to help you out. Let's read on. Esther chapter, now we at Esther chapter 7, verse 1. Now we at the, no matter of fact, it's Esther chapter 7 verse 1. Now we at the banquet that the king had invited Haman to with Esther. Let's read it.
This is Esther chapter 7 verse 1. So the king and Haman came to the banquet with Esther the queen. Verse 2. And the king said again unto Esther on the second day of the banquet of wine, what is thy petition, Queen Esther? And it shall be granted. It shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? And it shall be performed, even to the half of the kingdom. Verse 3. Then Esther the queen answered and said, I have found favor in thy sight, O king. And if it please the king, let my life be given me at my petition, and my people at my request. Verse 4. For we are sold, I and my people, to be destroyed, to be slain, and to perish. But if we had been sold for bondmen and bondwomen, I had held my tongue, although the enemy could not countervail the king's damage. Verse 5. Then the king Ahasuerus answered and said unto Esther the queen, who is he, and where is he that durst presume in his heart to do so? Verse 6. And Esther said, the adversary and enemy is the wicked Haman. Then Haman was afraid before the king and the queen.
Now, understand, before this, Esther had not revealed her lineage. She had not revealed that she was a Jew.
Right.
So this proclamation came as a surprise to the king and to Haman.
Right.
Haman had sought to destroy the Jews, not knowing that this fine bitch that was Salagia, this fine bitch that was the king's woman, was a Jew.
Right.
She come out with it that my people been sold for destruction, and I want the king to deliver us. Now Haman is afraid. Now the words of Haman woman the night before, yeah, that nigga Mordecai gonna win. You effed up messing with Mordecai. Now those words are coming true.
Right.
Read on.
Verse 7. And the king arising from the banquet of the wine, of wine in his wrath, went into the palace garden. And Haman stood up to make request for his life to Esther the queen, for he saw that there was evil determined against him by the king.
Now the king stormed out because Haman was his right man, and he loved Haman. So Haman went to beg to the queen. Please, that's not how. Anybody ever seen a white man beg? White man beg is such a glorious thing. Please, I'm so sorry. I swear to God. Oh my God, please. Oh, he had her knee. Please, sister queen, mother of earth, please forgive me. He begging on his knees. Let's keep reading.
Verse 8. Then the king returned out of the palace garden into the palace of banquet of wine. And Haman was fallen upon the bed whereon Esther was.
So Haman is begging on the bed. He on his knees on the bed begging. She laying on her bed. He begging, please forgive me. Read.
Then said the king, Will he force the queen also before me in the house?
Now the king sees the Edomite begging on the bed while the sister laying down. And the king saying, he's trying to F my lady? After doing this evil, now he trying to force himself on her? Now the king, he ain't gotta have the perception. He don't have the responsibility of analyzing the situation. Everybody understand? Me and you might have to analyze. I had to say, well, hold up, man. Let me make sure I see what I see. The king ain't got to do that. He the king. You trying to F his lady. That's it. King pissed the hell off. That's it. Read on.
As the word went out of the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face. Verse 9. And Habanah, one of the chamberlains, said before the king, Behold, also the gallows 50 cubits high, which Haman had made for Mordecai.
Now, Haman had made a hanging station for Mordecai and all the Jews to be hanged on the day that his decree went forth. The king said, somebody said, King, Haman made a hanging station for all the Jews. The king said, oh, there's a hanging station already made for a bunch of people? They said, yeah. Here's what the king said. Read on.
Kanwakan. Salaki. Behold, also the gallows 50 cubits high, which Haman had made for Mordecai, who had spoken good for the king standeth in the house of Haman. Then the king said, hang him thereon. Verse 10.
The king said, hang Haman on them gallows that he built for Mordecai. Read on.
Kanwakan. Verse 10. So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. Then was the king's wrath pacified.
You understand? They hanged Haman and his family and all his belongings. They got hanged on them gallows, and the king wasn't angry no more. So guess what? Haman casted lots on the children of Israel, and he crapped out.
Right.
He gambled, a big gamble. Clap it up. Haman gambled a big gamble, and he crapped out. And because he cast the lots and he crapped out, Mordecai said, this is going to be known as the Feast of Purim, the Feast of Lots. Because when you gamble against the children of Israel, you're going to lose.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
And being the children of Israel today, we should realize that the only gamble is to gamble on the Lord.
Right.
The only lot to cast is the one for the Lord.
Right.
You want to live your life and prosper, if you want to live a long life, if you want any glory, you should obey the Most High. Right. Keep his laws, statutes, and commandments, because that is the only thing that can deliver us.
That's right.
Fast and pray, because that is the only thing that can deliver us.
Right.
Gather together with your brothers and sisters, because that is the only thing that can deliver us. Everybody understands?
That's right.
So we go into the next chapter, Esther, the 8th chapter. If you could, drop me down to where Mordecai said this is going to be a feast that we're going to proclaim in all our days. You understand? At the end of Haman dying, the king went to Mordecai and said, Mordecai, man, what can I do? How can I fix this? And Mordecai said, King, that same decree that Haman passed to kill all of us, I want you to send out a decree that everybody who was happy about killing us, they should die on that day. And the king said, Mordecai, it is granted to you. So everybody who gambled on us being put to death, they got put to death. And guess what? When the decree went out that everybody who was against the Jews would be murdered or would be killed, what did everybody do in that day? They put back on their mitra. They put back on their glad. They put back on their fringes and said, I'm an Israelite. I'm an Israelite. You had Edomites saying they Israelites. You had East Indians saying they Israelites. Persians were saying they Israelites. Everybody tried to convert. But guess what? We know that ain't no converting. Right. You an Israelite, you born an Israelite.
Right. Kind of.
You understand? And God forbid you ever sell out, because you got to deal with us. Nigga sell out, I can't take him back. So like, he got to go be an Israelite over there somewhere.
Right.
You got to stand outside, and you know what I'm saying? We gathering together for the feast. Go eat your McDonald's in your car, nigga. You can't be in here with us. You still a brother, but I can't break bread with you out. You eat your feast over there. And that's what took place during this day. So as we eat and we gather tonight and tomorrow night, let's remember the way the Lord delivered our nation. And let's remember the ripple effects that comes from just one small decision. You understand? When it comes to obeying the Most High or disobeying him, when it comes to righteousness and unrighteousness, there is no small thing. Everything is a big thing, especially you being here tonight. Everybody understands? So with that, I'm going to have the brother read the last scripture, that we can go ahead and break some bread, have some drinks, and enjoy being here with one another, all right? Come on with it.
This is Esther chapter 9, verse 20. And Mordecai wrote these things and sent letters unto all the Jews that were in the province of King Ahasuerus, both nigh and far. Verse 21, to establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month Adar, and the 15th day of the same yearly. Verse 22, as the days wherein the Jews rested from their enemies, and the month which was turned unto them from sorrow to joy, and from mourning into a good day, that they should make them days of feasting and joy, and sending portions to one another, and gifts to the poor. Verse 23, and the Jews undertook to do as they had begun, and as Mordecai had written unto them. Verse 24, because Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the enemy of all the Jews, had devised against the Jews to destroy them, and had cast pur, that is, the lot, to consume them and to destroy them. 25, but when Esther came before the king, he commanded the letters that his wicked device, which he devised against the Jews, should return upon his own head, and that he and his sons should be hanged on the gallows. Verse 26, wherefore they call these days Purim, after the name of Pur. Therefore, for all the words of this letter, and of that which they had seen concerning this matter, which had come unto them. Salaki, verse 27, the Jews ordained and took upon them, and upon their seed, and upon all such as joined themselves unto them, so as it should not fail, that they would keep these 2 days according to their writing and according to their appointed time every year.
All right, so that's what we are here, y'all. February 25th and 26th this year are the 14th and the 15th day of the month Hadar in the Hebrew. Everybody understands? Just like it was decreed thousands of years ago, we have gathered tonight. We have remembered what the Lord put us through. We are thankful for the Most High for his blessings and his mercies, and we are going to continue in the spirit of Mordecai and Esther and all the Jews of the time of Shushan in the palace, and we are going to feast, we're going to rejoice, and we're going to thank the Most High forever for the things that he's done for us. With that, pass class over to priest and officers to come here.
Shalom, Israel. We are the I.S.U.P.K. We start out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rules for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes to the school, they are off limit for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or a sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or a sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and the sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21, and also in the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 through 10, means tenth in the Hebrew, my Ashura, tenth of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or the teacher. The next upcoming holy convocation is tomorrow, the closing of the Feast of Purim. And if anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start to wear all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. And with that, our module will be stand. Sister, y'all stay seated. All right. Men of Israel, we're going to give one cousin salute. A module Shabbat, a module, Barak.
Yahweh Shem Shabbat.
And what we say in the English, may the Most High bless you in the name of Christ. Yahanna, with me hands down. Saw, with me turn. Sisters, a module, which means stand. All sisters. You sit in the 45-degree angle with your right hand over your left. And when we say Barak, you put your right hand over your chest. And Barak means blessed. All right? Men of Israel, we'll give one cousin salute. Amad Shabbat. Amad Barak.
Yahweh Shabbat.
And what we just said to y'all, may the Most High watch over you in the name of Christ. Yahanna, with me hands down. Class is dismissed.